In a world where coaches are crazy and referees are blind, there's always something to talk about. Dixie Football Fanatics with Chet and Bill.
Mom! Billy's hogging the microphone again.
Dude, seriously?
Finally, some people with brains.
Whatever. Yippee.
Dixie Football Fanatics is on right now, kids.
Oh, this is too good.
I like it.
You have just entered the red zone. Now, your hosts. Let's hear it for Chet Young and Bill Cole.
Well, welcome everybody to Dixie Football Fanatics. It's another week with Chet and Bill, just hosting some good old Southern college football. And actually, Bill is not here in the studio this evening. Bill's at another location. Bill, where are you, Bill?
Well, hey, Chet and Dixie Football Fanatic fans everywhere. I'm deep in the sunshine state of Florida. I'll give you some clues. I passed through a couple of hotbeds of Dixie football on the way down here. Went through Tallahassee.
I guess that's a hotbed.
Yeah. Well, I think they're still sitting at the top, and I was kept my eye out for Jameis, famous Jameis. Didn't see him, but passed through there and went down through Gainesville, Florida. Kept on home of the Gators, and we all know. So ended up in Orlando, UCF Knights or whatever they are. But better known for Disney World. So that's where I'm at this week.
Well, I hope you're having a fun time, Bill. A lot better time than I had this past weekend up in Knoxville. It was a perfect day leading up to the game and through about 3/4 of the game, and then all of a sudden the game didn't turn out the way Tennessee fans would have liked it to turn out. And we'll get into our picks too, Bill, because just so you know, our fanatical picks were absolutely that. We're fanatical. They weren't good at all. When I mean fanatical, they were just come across as maybe a little crazy, especially with some of my picks.
Yeah. I mean, my picks were nothing to brag about, but I think your picks were a little bit worse.
I don't know that you got any more right than I did. I don't know.
Really?
I haven't checked it. Anyway, I know that I missed the Vols. I said the Vols were going to win 31-20, and the Vols lost 10-9 in a heartbreaker that really has the fans a little upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had the Vols winning by I think 28-27, so I did drop that one. Speaking of, home team or, the favorite team taking a fall, Crimson Tide goes down to Ole Miss in a 23-17 defeat. Ole Miss went plumb crazy. Of course, I picked the Tide to win that pretty comfortably.
I picked Alabama. I had Alabama winning that game like 31-24. So I really was expecting Alabama to win it, and that was a game. Ole Miss was pointing real hard to that game, and they played a good game. But what shocked me in that game, Bill, is Alabama only scored 3 points in the second half. I mean, I would have never saw that coming.
Yeah, they had very many opportunities and made some costly penalties. And just didn't play well at all in the second half. And Ole Miss just played solid. Alabama didn't make the play when they had to. And like I said, made a turnover here and there and penalties here and there that were costly. Tide had 3 players go out hurt, most notably Kenyon Drake in the first half, which I thought took a kind of a little wind out of our sails, kind of demoralized the team, but they came back in the third quarter and played a little better, but
wasn't putting points on the board though.
No, didn't cash in. So yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, huge win, one of the greatest all time, if not the best win, beating the number one AP ranked Tide. So Ole Miss is celebrating still, I'm sure.
Well, Bill, I got to go back and just take a real quick blip or look at your, you got a little crazy last week on your picks here, and it was, you throwing out all these numbers on Alabama and Ole Miss, Bill's picks. I said, where's that at? Where is that at? You throw out all this Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Where's that game at? Where is it? Alabama, Ole Miss, right?
Under Bill's Bama blog.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it. Said you had to throw out this SEC's most lopsided rivalry as the Tide leads all time on the field 51-8-2. Bama since 1970 leads the series 29-5. And you know what's amazing about it? Does not matter about past history and records. I know it gives a tendency, but honestly, it's played that day on the field as we saw in that game. And also, let's go back to those picks a little bit. I had picked. I think the only one I got right was the Georgia Bulldogs beating Vanderbilt, which anybody could pick that one. And then I missed the Gamecock game. They lost to Kentucky. After leading by 17-0 at one point, and then Kentucky goes up, and then South Carolina ends up going up again by 14, and then they end up losing that game. I got Alabama wrong, and I pulled one of this less is more. Tigers beat Auburn, and obviously that was way wrong. But I did pick Mississippi State to beat the A&M Aggies. So you picked. Oh, you did too. You picked State.
I picked Mississippi State. I picked Kentucky, and they came through. That was probably one of my better picks of the week. And I did pick the Auburn Tigers to prevail down there, and they whooped up on LSU. But yeah, I got those two right. Of course, I missed Bama, missed Florida. I missed Tennessee's game, and but yeah, I think I might have come out a little bit ahead of you.
Yeah, you came out a little bit ahead of me. But
Yeah. But anyway,
we got an extremely big week this week coming up again in college football. In the SEC, really, and when you're talking about national attention, the best national games this year, we got two. It's 3 versus 3, right? Isn't Ole Miss isn't Mississippi State and Auburn tied for third, or am I missing that? One of Auburn's two. Mississippi and Mississippi State are tied for third. Auburn's 2, right?
Right. Auburn's number 2, playing what I'm looking at, is calling Mississippi State number 3. And so, yeah, that's huge, too. And, number 2 and 3, SEC West. Yeah, Mississippi State's also listed as number 3, playing Texas A&M. Ole Miss playing Texas A&M.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at 2014 season, SEC football statistics right now. Offense, Texas A&M's number 1 in the conference in total offense. Alabama's 2. But looking at, who would you think Auburn or Mississippi State would be after Alabama? In the number 3 slot in offense in the SEC.
I would think Auburn.
You would be wrong, my good buddy. Mississippi State is averaging 541.8 yards a game, and Auburn's averaging 497.2. Auburn's actually 6th, and it's kind of hard to believe that LSU's actually averaging more than Auburn per game. And so is South Carolina. Kind of amazing, isn't it? Well, I said that averaging more. Yeah. I know I said that I'm getting that a little bit wrong because it's total yards. Auburn's at 2486, LSU's at 2594, South Carolina at 2608. But yards per game, a little bit different beast. But Mississippi State is both. They've got more total yards and more yards per game. So which is a little surprising because everybody thinks Auburn is probably everybody thinks Auburn's got the number 1 offense in the conference for whatever reason.
Yeah, Mississippi State under Dak Prescott has really got them really rolling along. He's 1,232 yards passing, and I know he's he's not their leading rusher, but he's right up there, carrying the ball. Prescott's had see, I'm looking at it, he's got about 122 yards this year, no, he's got 465 yards. That's Prescott. So 6 touchdowns rushing. So he's definitely getting some early season Heisman.
And he should.
Consideration.
He should. I mean, he's doing everything Tim Tebow did when he won the Heisman, if not better. Honestly, I mean, you got a guy that actually got a great throwing motion, can run the ball, and he's a leader. I'm thinking it's Dak, right? I always want to call him Zach. It's Dak. I think Dak is. They win this week against Auburn. You've got to shoot him up pretty high if he has a good game. I mean, maybe the odds-on leader for the Heisman, right?
Yeah, not only that, but as a team, I've heard some talk this week. When you look at Mississippi State's resume, if they win against Auburn, they will have beaten the number 2 team, the number 6 team, and at the time they beat LSU was the number 8 team. That's 3 teams. It was in the top 8. They may be the best team in the nation, as far as a resume. They're playing, Florida State's playing a little lackluster in several of the games. So, this is just a huge game. And that game is in Starkville.
Oh, yeah.
But Auburn's I'm seeing Auburn get as a 3-point favorite in that game.
I don't get that. I don't understand why. I think it's just because Auburn played for the national title. And listen, I got an Auburn buddy I want to give a shout out to, Barry Bowen. Listen, buddy, I know I picked the LSU Tigers to beat you last week. That was probably just because I wanted them to beat you. Auburn's definitely a better team, obviously, than LSU, and better than just about everybody else in the country, no doubt. Auburn's got a good football team, but they're going to be playing. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pick Texas A&M to beat Auburn this weekend. I don't care if Auburn is favored. I think Auburn, as far as being favored in this game, they haven't done as much yet in the season as Mississippi State has, as you just pointed out, Bill. Of course, if they beat Mississippi State at Mississippi State, that's going to be a pretty huge statement for Auburn as well.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, it's almost similar to an Alabama going into Ole Miss. Alabama's first road game against a very strong opponent, a division, West Division opponent, going over to play Ole Miss, and they come out with a loss. Here again, you've got Auburn going into very hostile. The Mississippi State fans will be sky high, and it's shaping up. Don't you think there's some similarities there?
Oh, there's definitely similarities.
I think, you look at Auburn, they have had a road test at Kansas State, and as we know, they were fortunate by all means to get out with a win out of Manhattan, Kansas. Kansas State did everything they could do to lose that game.
I know they had
several kicks, fumbles in the end zone,
and they had a sure touchdown that bounced off a guy's chest and into an Auburn guy's hands. Boy, that's happened. That happened last year, kind of in Auburn's favor when it bounced off a Georgia defender's hands into Auburn guys for a big touchdown to put Georgia away last year. I mean, Auburn, good teams like Alabama's done in the past, or has been. Not that really the past, but it's happened for Alabama when you're good football teams. Breaks come your way. It just happens. I mean, it's just, I think it's some part of, I don't know, what do you call it, some mystical thing in football. If you're good, breaks happen good for you, and if you're struggling, it's just breaks a lot of times just not going to go your way. That's just football for some reason.
Right. Kansas State was pretty effective as a rush defense against Auburn. And, they played very well defensively against Auburn. I can see this happening with State. Although Auburn is getting a little better, Auburn had a big sky high win at home against LSU, but I haven't made my picks yet. I mean, I can make some off the cuff picks here tonight, but I may be leaning to Mississippi State in that game.
Well, yeah.
But,
it's going to be a great game.
Sounds like
I mean,
you are.
I'm probably leading.
It's hard to. It's a real toss-up. It's a real pick-em game. I mean, very evenly matched. So, man, that's going to be a good one. So, Auburn and Mississippi State, number 2 and number 3.
That's incredible.
Battling this weekend.
And then, then you've got, the good thing, I was talking to Alabama guy tonight, good thing for Alabama is they get helped no matter who wins this game, right? Alabama gets help, right? One of those teams is going to be basically knocked out of, not knocked out, but one of those teams is going to be evened up with Alabama as far as conference losses are concerned, right? And Alabama has yet to play either one of those teams. So definitely, I mean, it's a win for Alabama, so to speak, because one of them is going to be brought back down to at least Alabama's, conference record of 1 loss, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Of course, Bama will be playing both of those teams later on. They'll be very tough games for the Tide, but
Alabama don't have an easy game this week either, though, Bill. They're going to Fayetteville, play Arkansas, the Pigs, and the Pigs actually can. They got the second leading rusher in the conference, Bill, and Alex Collins. He's got 620 yards, 21 yards rushing. And the Pigs are, they're a downhill team, so to speak. I don't think they're going to be that big of a passing threat against you guys, but they are going to, they are going to try to ram it down your throat. Of course, that's obviously the kind of football that Nick Saban likes to play against, though. Yeah,
I mean, it's an interesting matchup, Arkansas and Alabama. Like I said, they're similar philosophy with Palima, the ground and pound like you did at Wisconsin. But Alabama's kind of took on a little more aired-out personality with Lane Kiffin. So, it could be, Alabama plays like they did against Florida and maybe cuts out some of the turnovers. They could beat Arkansas by a couple of touchdowns or 3. In my mind, if they play the good game, but that's not a sure win for the Tide coming up this week. So, Chet, I know you were at the game. I guess if we want to talk a little bit more, or do we want to pass on Tennessee and look ahead for Tennessee?
I'll talk a little bit about Tennessee. I mean, why not? I mean, you're an Alabama guy, I'm a Tennessee guy. I briefly covered the Tennessee game. I did go to the game, and it caused me to miss watching Alabama. Staying at home, you're able to watch a lot of football games. Of course, I didn't get to watch that much of the Alabama game. I probably caught most of the third quarter. I'd stopped at a restaurant to eat on the way home and watched that part of the game, and then I didn't catch it. I caught it on the radio just as, I guess, Ole Miss had just recovered the football on the kickoff. Alabama must have fumbled a kickoff. I didn't see it, and then that's when Ole Miss went ahead and then missed the extra point or had it blocked. And anyway, so but being at the Tennessee game, everything was set up for the Vols. I mean, the fans were actually into it. What started off as a social media type deal, this guy in Cleveland, Tennessee, decides he wants to checkerboard Neyland Stadium, and he designs it on his CAD system like it worked. And he has a buddy that he's got that would help him social-wise, like Facebook, Twitter, or whatever else. And then I guess they contacted the school, and they just kind of put this thing together. And fans could go online and put in their ticket, and they could determine whether they wear white or orange to the game. So It's amazing that basically 100,000 people did that. I mean, if you saw pictures of it, and I think you saw some of them that I posted, I mean, it was incredible. So you got this, the fans are really into it, and then we end up with one of these games. We're playing a Florida team, Bill, that you saw them play Alabama. They have no offense to speak of. Tennessee gave up 232 yards of total offense to Florida. That's it, and lost the game. See, which is really a bummer because Tennessee's sitting there. They got in the red zone three times in the second half inside the 15, I think, and come away with nothing but field goals. And they had another pass intercepted in the end zone. Second half. First play of the second half, we intercept the ball. We're set up. Looks like, hey, here, we go in, we score a touchdown here, Florida probably ain't going to beat us because Florida can't move the football on Tennessee. So we immediately throw it back to them, interception in the end zone. You know, and the thing battles out. We get up to a 9-0 lead, through three quarters. I mean, we've held Florida scoreless through three quarters, and then we have on a play where Worley drops back to pass, never looks to his right, looking to the guy, on the left side of the field, and a guy breaks free and this nails Worley in the chest, and we fumble on the 30-yard line. Florida brings in a freshman quarterback. And by the way, that guy's in trouble and getting kicked off the team. The next day he goes out and does something stupid. Just FYI, if you hadn't heard that. Anyway, so Florida scores a touchdown. And then Tennessee, they're not moving the ball well enough to score to kick another field goal yet. And then Florida gets just enough drive to get an opportunity to kick a field goal, and the play clock, Bill, actually ran out. And Florida kicked it. The refs never called it. Florida gets the field goal. They're up 10-9. Tennessee gets the ball back, converts on 4th and 10 or 11. They're on the 48-yard line of Florida, 58 seconds to go in the game. 2 timeouts left. In the very next play, we throw an interception. I mean, we're that close. If you look at it, we played a good game against Georgia. Not a good game offensively against Florida, but Tennessee is 6 points away from being 2-0 in the East and looking pretty good, in everybody's eyes. But now, because of those losing by 3 and losing by 1, people are looking at Tennessee, and especially fans after this game, really disappointed, and it hurts. But, you got to stick. Vols are definitely playing better football this year. I went on real quick on this, but anyway, we'll move on. Tennessee should get a win this week. We're playing Chattanooga in Knoxville, and I mean, it would be a massively bad day if the Moccasins, whatever they're called, comes to Knoxville and beat us. That won't happen, but it would be a bad day if that did. So anyway, what about you, Tide? Who you got? You guys got Arkansas this weekend, and you said injuries. You said Kenyon Drake's injured. You got it, and who else got hurt, and will they play this week?
Well, Kenyon Drake hurt. Latest I've heard, some of our listeners probably have more up-to-date info, but I think they called it a broken leg. It looked pretty gruesome on TV, and from what I understand, they took him straight to the locker room and then straight to the airport, flew him back to Birmingham, had surgery, so definitely out for the year, which is he's a valuable part of the offense. We had defensive lineman Duval hurt, and I understand he's going to be out a few weeks.
Is he a starter?
Yeah, we lost a starter, or he may be a linebacker, but we lost a defensive starter, and our center, Ryan Kelly, how valuable the center is I think he's got a sprained, like I said, I'm not as up-to-date being down here on vacation, but I think he's out a couple weeks. So 3 starters out is never good, but Tide going on the road to Arkansas, like I said, with the high production rushing game, the Tide defense is going to need to play well for the Tide to win. Bama's, let's see what I'm looking at, favored by about 10, what I'm looking at. So big game for both teams. Arkansas would like nothing better than beat Alabama this week, but Alabama needs to get on track if they want to, try to get that top 4 playoff spot.
Yeah, I do need Alabama to lose one more game. I need you guys to lose one more game so you won't be in it. So that's, I need Auburn to lose 2 and you to lose 2. So I'm hoping for State to beat Auburn this weekend. Sorry, Auburn buddies, but just the way I am. I figure if you guys are winning, it's not helping my team any better. So, and as far as somebody like, I wouldn't mind Mississippi State. Honestly, I believe I could pull for State in the if they made it to the 4 teams, If you guys make it, I'm probably not, or Auburn probably not. I'm sorry, this is the way it is, But if you're playing Mississippi State or Ole Miss or Georgia or any of those. But hey, you got to. Speaking of Georgia, there's a good football game. You have 4-1 Georgia at 4-1 Missouri. And Georgia's played. They played some pretty good football, and then they had that game against South Carolina where they lost at Columbia. It's a hard-fought game, but they lost that game. And in South Carolina, it's just turning out to be. I mean, you're talking about a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde football team. Good night. They lose. I mean, they lose. We went over that a little bit, but they lose to Kentucky. Of course, it was at Kentucky, but still, they shouldn't. You're not thinking that Kentucky should be back. When I say back, has Kentucky ever been there in football? It's like
thinking Bear Bryant coached a year at Kentucky in '51. I think they won the conference, and I think they won one back in the '70s or early '80s. They don't have a strong history. But yet, you're absolutely right that East is pretty deadlocked. I mean, overall, Georgia and Missouri both 4-1. Kentucky's 4-1 overall.
Yeah, Kentucky's 2-1 in the SEC. So basically, they're tied with Georgia. Well, Missouri's 1-0, but that's if you look at wins, I mean, Kentucky's right there, looking like they actually now could compete for the East. I don't expect it to happen or continue to happen, but. If you think Florida as bad as Florida is offensively, but Florida's not that bad defensively. So when I look back at statistics that Alabama, what they did to Florida offensively is, y'all had a great day that day. I mean, you really put the total yards. You really just demolished Florida. Because overall, I say they're not that bad defensively.
Yeah, I mean, it's another really good, there's some really good games this week. Like I said, Georgia at Missouri is a good game. Auburn at Mississippi State's huge. Alabama and Arkansas is a big game for the SEC West. And LSU, Florida is interesting. Florida's still 3-1 overall, so. And Ole Miss at Texas A&M, Chad. I kind of think that you might see A&M at home winning that game against Ole Miss.
I got mixed emotions on that one for sure because I don't know. I mean, Tennessee plays Ole Miss in Oxford next weekend, and I'm thinking, honestly, I think if you take away the bad-looking performance Tennessee had offensively against Florida, I mean, Tennessee's not playing that bad. I feel like they can play or compete with virtually everybody they play, Ole Miss and Alabama included. I mean, granted, it'll take a good day to win one or either one of those games or both. I mean, it'll take good days. But I think if Ole Miss wins against Texas A&M, Tennessee, might have a better shot because Ole Miss would probably be looking past Tennessee to somebody that's more important. I think they play. They may play. Who do they play after us? They may play. Do they play y'all after they play us? It seemed like they got a big game after us.
October 18th, my birthday, actually. They're playing Alabama's hosting Texas A&M, so yeah.
I'm just wondering when Ole Miss plays you guys. They just did it. I am so crazy, man. Ole Miss just beat y'all this past weekend. It's like, man, I just have brain slips here and there.
They're both deadlocked at 5-0 and third in the country. I mean, there is a little confusion going on. They're both good. But, yeah, I mean, Mississippi State, you have to play Alabama. But Ole Miss is
who do you like in the LSU-Florida game this week? Now, it's obviously in the swamp. And, again, I'm going to say this, that Florida's got a good defense. I got mixed emotions on that one. I don't know if I want Florida to win that game just so Muschamp might hang on to his job another year because I really don't think Muschamp's that good, and I just assume him hang on one more year. But
you're kind of saying what you want to happen. I mean, you're trying to think about what you think is going to happen.
I think LSU can go down there and beat Florida is what I'm thinking because Florida just don't have that much offense, and surely Chavis can put together a defense that's going to hold Florida in check like Tennessee did. I mean, Florida only scores 10 points and wins against 10. That's so embarrassing. To hold a team to 10 and lose, that's really embarrassing. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, with the off-the-field problems, LSU, Florida
Florida
got me doing it. Yeah. Florida's quarterback, they're going. Sounds like Driscoll's going to be their man, and the boy's just not, he's just not come around to be a top flight, even a good college SEC quarterback. So, yeah, I can see LSU coming in and winning. I probably would pick LSU in that game.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do too. I mean, I don't know if I get my write-up in this week or not. Tomorrow, we're taking the grandkids out tomorrow to like a petting zoo or something. I don't know. So first things first, man. So I may not get my written picks in, so to speak, unless it's tomorrow night or Friday sometime.
Yeah, me either. I may not. But yeah, I mean, there's some good games, and we're looking forward to them. Hadn't even been able to touch on the national scene. I know there's some of interest, but
I'll run through some of that with you
TCU,
pretty quick.
Baylor's the top.
Yeah, well, you got Florida State and Syracuse, and boy, I'm pulling for the Orange. Man, I have a bad taste in my mouth with Florida State, but I think Florida State wins that game. You got Texas, Oklahoma. Now, there's one I didn't see coming. I didn't see Oklahoma getting beat by TCU. But, TCU evidently has got a pretty good football team. They're undefeated, and they beat a good Oklahoma team. So
yeah, we had a lot of carnage in the top 10. I mean, a lot of upsets.
Was it 6 teams or was it 4 that lost in the top 10? It was
5 or 6, wasn't it?
It was a bunch, man.
It was.
Other games, Georgia, Missouri, mentioned that one. Let's see. Let's go down here.
Of course, Oregon got beat on Friday night, was it?
Yep.
Last week.
And a player doing a stupid thing again, celebrating. One of those where he makes a big play. And the guy, I didn't see it, but I read some about it, where he kind of goes toward his own sideline and makes, he's making some gestures or celebrating or whatever. And because they just had stopped Arizona. Is it Arizona or Arizona State? Anyway, I think it's Arizona.
Oh, no.
Anyway, they just had stopped them, and it gave them a first down, and they went on in and scored, and that was enough to beat Oregon. So, man, you gotta know, you gotta figure you don't do that kind of stuff. Good game, Bill, at 3:30. I guess that's Eastern time. You've got number 9 TCU at number 5 Baylor. So if you're looking at Southwest. No, it's not Southwest. That's the old conference, right? You're looking at the Big 12. That's a huge Big 12 matchup as well as a huge national matchup.
Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor's got a good football team. Had a good football team for a number of years now, right? Since RG3s was there, right?
Right. Yeah, Notre Dame. Notre Dame after the slack off last year and going to the BCS game the year before against Alabama, they're creeping back up to the number 6 spot. They got North Carolina.
Well, they had a big win last week. They beat Stanford in what I heard was a nasty game as far as the weather's concerned. Yeah,
very strong win. Notre Dame is in pretty good position. I don't know their schedule ahead. They always play pretty good. Playing a lot of they've got an ACC affiliation type thing where they're not a full member, but they're playing several ACC teams this year. So I'm looking ahead. Notre Dame playing North Carolina, but Chet, next week or the 18th, Notre Dame is playing at Florida State.
I'm gonna call it right now. Notre Dame beats Florida State. I'm calling it. That's me. I'm calling it, Bill. I'm fanatical. I'm calling it. Even though I'm a Dixie football guy, I'm pulling for the guys up north. I guess you can call South Bend, Indiana, north, right? I mean, I'm pulling for the Fighting Irish. Yeah, hey, South, that'll count.
South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah, that counts. We'll call it.
Yeah, I can see that happening for sure. Notre Dame could win that game, put them way up, in the top 2 or 3. Then Notre Dame's got Navy, Arizona State, Arizona State on the road. Then they got Northwestern. Northwestern's surprise team. They've got Louisville and they've got Southern Cal. So
you're talking about Notre Dame?
That's a tough schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. Notre Dame's got a tough schedule, but I think they can. They got the quarterback to handle it. It's another one of those quarterbacks like Auburn's and Mississippi State's. A guy that's a dual threat type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good football player. I think he had to sit out a year, right, because of an academic issue, so to speak. Somebody did a paper for him or something, right? So he sat out a year. Of course, he's back, and he's good football player. And Notre Dame is good coach. Got the Kelly guy there, and it's they've put the program back together.
Yeah, I mean they're in position, like I just said, with that schedule. If they can navigate through that, if they can run the table, I mean obviously if they run the table, they're going to be there. But they're looking good again this year. So I mean it's the best time of the year. I mean, you're right in the meat of the schedule. Good games this week, so looking forward to the SEC games and some of the national games.
I hope you're enjoying yourself on your vacation, and I'm sure you're looking forward to. I mean, when you coming back? I mean, I don't know your schedule per se. When are you going to be back pretty soon? Or?
I'll probably be back Saturday night, and unfortunately, if I do drive straight through, I'll probably miss all the games until the night games. I know Alabama plays at 5 Central. So, but yeah, I'll be back Sunday most likely, and trying to catch up on SEC. Hopefully I'll be able to catch some of the games into the evening, but looking forward to it.
Yep. Going to be another great weekend, another fallout weekend, so to speak. I mean, we're going to have, like I say, we got some matchups that can rattle that top 10 again and rattle what people think will be, the 4 playoff teams. So looking forward to another college football weekend. Of course, I'm looking forward to Tennessee playing Chattanooga, I guess. I'm always looking forward to my Vols playing, even though I may get disappointed at times on what comes out, the outcome. But, hey, I'm a Vol fan, baby, for life. So win, lose, or draw, I'm all Vol.
And I'm all Crimson. And, I mean, Alabama and Arkansas is going to be a good one. And, red on both sides of the field, but Alabama needs to get back on track. They want to keep the national championship title hopes alive. So it's another good weekend, as we keep saying.
Another good week.
I guess we're about time to wrap it up, Chet. Another edition of Dixie Football Fanatics.
DixieFootballFanatics.com.
Yeah, I mean, we've upgraded. I know you've been doing some work on some logos. We're going to get some new Chet and Bill logos out there.
Yeah, little Facebook banners and YouTube banners and Twitter things and the whole 9 yards. Trying to get it all where it's all, coordinated, so to speak. So hopefully we get that at least by the time the season ends, and we can keep going with our podcast during the off season for recruiting and into SEC basketball. But that's something we need to make sure we cover this year. But anyway, again,
sure.
DixieFootballFanatics.com, Dixie FB Fanatics on Twitter. Be sure and follow us there and like us. And Bill, as always, I've enjoyed it and look forward to being back home and in studio next week, where I can look at you and talk to you, enjoy your facial expressions while we're doing our podcast. As we get fanatical.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I know it gets kind of fanatical there when we're both in studio. So I'm looking forward to it myself. So.
All right. Hey, Bill, you have a safe trip home. And, guys, thank you for listening to Dixie Football Fanatics.
Good night now from Sunshine State, and I'll be back in the heart of Dixie next week. So everybody have a good week and enjoy your football this weekend.